Hey guys, welcome to episode 18 of The Doctor and the Dork. This is Frank here with our co-hostess Olivia.
Hi everyone.
So I am, per usual, all hyped up. Thought I was going to have to do 3 takes of this intro.
Yeah, that was the
yet
first
again.
one.
Yeah, I know, first go. We're doing good this week, guys. We're doing great. So I think Olivia is going to start us off, and then I think she's killing it with the doctor segment this week.
I'm not going to be killing it.
I got nothing for you guys.
Great.
I'm sorry.
Another short episode, easy on the ears.
All right, take it away, babe.
All right, so I thought we'd open up this episode reflecting on how sober October is going so far.
Not well.
And, you know, when you hear the word sober, I think you initially think of drugs and alcohol. And let me tell you, that part's going just dandy. That's fine. You know, I don't really need my occasional glasses of wine.
Yeah.
However,
Not hard skipping the cocaine.
Daily and multi-daily coffee, I'm missing that. It's not going well every afternoon. I'm just so tired. I just want a little pick-me-up. I want a little PSL from Starbucks. I want something to have caffeine coursing through my veins.
Okay, so I'm going to sound real dumb here. What's a PSL?
A pumpkin spice
Oh
latte.
my God.
I bet you regret asking now.
I do. I regret that greatly. Yeah, guys, it's Sober October. I mean, this is the 3rd year for myself, and it's a challenge, per usual. It's, you know what? It's fine until it's not. It's one of those, you're like, oh, I'm good the first 4 days, and you wake up one morning and you're like, oh, I slept like crap. I got a long day of work ahead of me. Let me just go get a cup of coffee. Oh, never mind. No coffee for me.
It's just such a simple luxury taken by Sober October.
Oh, yeah, you get home and you're like, you know what? I'd love a beer or a glass of wine with dinner. I earned it after a long day, and you're like, and I can't.
On the bright side, only 24 more days till I can have a nice, large cup of coffee.
Really, we're a quarter of the way done, huh? Where is October going?
I don't know if that's exactly the calculation. But anyways, in addition to doing our Sober October stuff, we're also doing healthy stuff for Sober October. And that is including a hot yoga twice a week for Frankie and I. Let me tell you, hot yoga is the best way to ruin yoga.
Guys, hot yoga is as great and as terrible as I remember it being last year and the year before that. And so this time we signed up for 10 classes.
Foolish, dumb, regret.
Yeah. No, it's rough, guys. It is. Hot yoga, if you're not ready for it, it's a challenge.
Get ready.
Yeah, it's
just merely existing on your mat when it's that hot and humid in the room is a challenge.
It's 95, and then so like our first day wasn't terrible. We didn't show up prepared. We didn't have our we had sweat rags, but we didn't have like
yoga towels.
The yoga towels on the mat. So we're over here slipping and sliding like somebody lubed our mats up. And so that was, great and all. We survived the first one. Then the second one, I tell you what, it was 95 in there again. But the lady that did the previous class on her way out decided she was going to leave the humidifier on while we were sitting there. So it sat on with the humidifier in the room for like 20 minutes because we show up early. And the other girl went, oh, I didn't realize that was on. And then rushed to go turn it off.
And Frankie and I had also lifted before this particular yoga class.
Yes.
So I was basically dead half the yoga
We decided
class.
to do chest and tries.
And I just tried to Wim Hof it through. But at a certain point through my deep breathing exercises, all I can think about is how hot the air entering my lungs is. And then from there, it's a rapid decline.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, it's rough. So we'll see how our third course is tonight. So
less than an hour from now, guys.
Yeah, so we're off to meet our doom. As you can tell, we're just so pumped up.
But Frankie also went on a nice little boys hike this week.
Yeah, so shout out to Matt, AJ, and Sean. Love you guys. We went out and did our yearly hike. We missed 2019. We were reminiscing about that. And we all concurred that we missed 2019's yearly Black Rock hike.
Why? You guys are too busy or what?
I forget why, honestly. I for the life of me don't recall. But anyway, so we did our Black Rock hike out. For those of you that don't know, this is out in Thomaston, Connecticut. It has a great overlook of the town. It's a really beautiful sight to see, especially when the leaves are changing. We got there, I think, a week or two too early. Another week or two, and it would have been
Perfect.
real nice.
Yeah.
But it was a great day for a hike. It was very mild tempered. And then we got off the beaten path for a little bit, and then we went down to the Thomaston Dam like we usually do. So we'll post the photos of that. But guys, if you've ever wanted to see a cool dam, if you're familiar with, oh God.
Oh no, babe, we're rolling.
Yep. No,
We're
I forgot the
rolling.
name of this game. I forgot the name of it. It's got Big Daddies in it, and
Don't look at me. I don't know. Don't look it up
I'm
now.
gonna have
He'll
to
get
Google
back
it.
to you next week. He's Googling it
I'm
right
Googling
now.
it right now, guys.
I don't know what we're going to do now because I have nothing to ad-lib. Everything left in the weekend review is all Frankie.
Oh,
and
my
his
God.
first Google search was a fail.
Yeah, my first Google. Oh, BioShock. I couldn't think of it. I was put on the spot.
Well, thank goodness. All
I
the
know.
listeners are so relieved now.
But yeah, so this one tower at the Thomaston Dam, it looks like something right out of BioShock. The letters, just the eerie look of it. It's very cool.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna end our week in review though with some downturn news that I just found out today. That for those of you that are Van Halen fans, Eddie Van Halen passed away today. It is October 6th, 2020. He died at the age of 65 due to cancer causes. So if you get the time, go listen to some Van Halen. They are a fantastic band. Were a fantastic band. Still are. God, they were. They had a lot of great hits.
Bowling for Soup mentions them in one of their songs.
Yes.
Listening to Van Halen or something like that.
Oh my
you know?
God.
It's the 1985.
1985.
1985. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, go listen to that song too, because that's a
Not
classic.
Bowling for Soup. Get out of here. We're here to listen to some Van Halen. But no, that's all I got for our week in review, guys. Honestly, because I don't think of anything else. Next week we're going to be doing the book review.
Yeah, I was going to say some administrative stuff. We're doing the book review next week. Girl on a Train.
Yep, Girl on a Train. And then we're going to watch the movie at some point. Maybe we'll watch that this weekend.
That'd be nice.
We've
now surpassed 300 listens, thanks to all of our listeners.
Yes, thank you guys. 326 listens and still going. So for those of you that have just started listening, big shout out. You guys are fantastic. And those of you that have been with us from the start, equally big shout out. You guys are awesome for sticking with us.
Yeah, let me give some specific shout outs. I know some people liked my Facebook post, so I'll give a shout out to Don, and I'll give a shout out to Corinne, who commented on my Facebook post about it.
Awesome. I know Matt recently started listening.
Oh, yeah, Matt and Dee Dee.
Yep, they started listening. I know AJ catches it. I don't know if Sean and Jody are...
Jody listens at work, I think.
They get it intermittently.
Yeah.
I know our folks, both of our parents, yep, they listen. I think your grandparents listen.
My grandma started listening. Shout out, Gram.
Oh, man.
All right, let's move it along. We don't got to waste the whole episode on shout outs.
Okay.
You want me to kick it off this week?
Yeah.
Or you want to kick it off?
Actually, you know what? No, we'll end with the doctor because you got a ton.
Go ahead.
So, guys, for the Dork segment this week, I got next to nothing. There's a lot of exciting technology things, technological things going on out there. A lot of innovations happening, mostly from Elon Musk. Let's be real here.
Shout out Elon Musk. Feel free to come on.
Enough of your shout outs. Get out of here.
Send us an email, dr@dork@gmail.com.
So he, part of Elon Musk's recent thing, he established SpaceLink, which is part of his SpaceX program. Which apparently has brought Wi-Fi to the firefighters in California. Because apparently they're just out in the middle of nowhere and you can't get Wi-Fi out there. Well, apparently his SpaceLink initiative has brought Wi-Fi to them in the middle of these raging infernos and is actually being a great help already.
Wow.
So who'd have guessed that Elon Musk and his interstellar travels would still be helping us?
Let me ask you a question. How many more children do you think are going to be named Elon in the next decade? Because right now I know one Elon, and it would be Elon Musk.
You know what? Probably a lot of people are going to just start giving him their kids. Like
they could make a nice middle name. I don't know how I like it for
the Church of Elon.
Yeah, I know you really want to start that.
But next, guys, keeping it with the interstellar topic, we have the Solar Orbiter. So apparently, NASA had the genius idea of launching a satellite at the sun that's going to be about 10 million miles closer to the sun than Mercury. And keep in mind, the surface of Mercury hits roughly 450 degrees Celsius because it's that close to the sun. So I was doing some reading about the solar paneling on this thing and the heat shielding. And apparently it is some very high-tech stuff, obviously. But specifically that I was interested in was, how does this thing know when to turn, right? Like, they're obviously not putting an Apple computer's processor in there.
Yeah, I don't know. This is why I find so many things in space. I can understand the conspiracy theorists, because, like, we can't even make a car self-drive itself, and you tell me we can launch rockets and satellites up there with no problem.
So this thing needs to be able to. So all right, in this article that I read, they were talking about our cell phones, right? So you take a cell phone and you open every app you have on your phone and you time it, right? And you go, oh, it took this many seconds. Then you shut your phone off, start it back up, and you do it again now that it has a cache in it, and it takes exponentially less time, like literally a quarter of the time.
Okay.
Well, apparently that is still too that's still too slow for the solar orbiter. So this thing apparently has a operating system that can boot and pull up programs and make adjustments within like 2 seconds. And it needs to do this consistently. Not like, oh, hey, my phone was so fast 6 months ago and now it's not. This thing stays this fast.
I think I missed the first half of the story. What is this thing that's up there?
It's a satellite that they launched at the sun.
For why? What's it? Who cares?
I don't know. NASA? Point? They're doing whatever NASA does.
You're calling it the solar orbiter. Is it like creating solar power or something?
No, it's orbiting the sun.
Yeah.
All right, this is a NASA
thing. So
they
needed this thing to come up and orbit
the
sun.
Just not the... I'm not even worried about the heat shielding. We can do that. We can dip things in lava on Earth.
Sure.
No, what I was talking about was the computer that controls this thing and how high-tech it is. It's basically like a normal computer on steroids. They built an entirely separate operating system that's insanely fast compared to like anything Apple or Microsoft rolls out. And it's just very high tech.
Why does its computer system need to be any better than any other satellite that goes out?
Well, if you were listening, I said because they, which you clearly weren't. All right. But it needs to be able to boot up faster and make adjustments on its orbit.
Because it's so hot, or what?
Because it could blow up into the sun if it doesn't.
You know what? While we're talking about this,
oh my god!
Last week you made a comment. It might have been the week before about if I was listening, then I would have heard something, and I was so certain you didn't say it, and then I re-listened to the pod, and you did indeed say it. So sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. No, I feel the love. All right, guys. So I'm gonna wrap it up with I'm going to end it with my games. So PlayStation is going out with a bang, guys. The free games they have for PlayStation Plus this month are Need for Speed Payback. We all know Need for Speed, great car game. So that's free. And then they also released another game that I was very unfamiliar with called Vampire. Yeah, I don't really know what to tell you. I know it's set in like God, I'm trying to think. Like
he looks at me when he doesn't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm bouncing ideas off your face. It's like early 1900s London, I think it is, and basically you're a vampire.
If you've played this game, feel free. Write us an email.
Oh my God! Enough of your plugs. Get out of here.
Let us know. How is it?
It's fantastic. It's free.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
What
this
about?
week.
Weren't you going to say didn't Xbox buy some new game? Because you said you might have to buy an Xbox now.
Oh, no. They picked up. I talked about this already in last week's podcast.
Well, why'd you bring it up to me again yesterday?
Because I was just talking about it yesterday. I was talking about Fallout New Vegas, guys, just to bring all the memories back, because it's Fallout New Vegas and it's fantastic.
And more at the pod I didn't apparently listen to.
Yeah, I know, but that's okay.
Send us an email, Dr. and Dork, if you think the Fallout guy looks a lot like the Bazooka Joe guy.
That is true. He might be a ripoff.
All right.
Take it away, babe. Finish it. You got 20 minutes left.
Intellectual conversation, shall we?
God. I'm losing brain cells already.
The CDC has officially republished a new thing about how coronavirus can be spread airborne. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we brought it up that the CDC posted it. It was retracted. Not great, I feel, to retract stuff. If you need to, go ahead and say this is what we thought, and then publish something new saying, you know what, that is what we thought, but we have new evidence that suggests otherwise. However, the CDC retracted their previous one because they felt that the wording might cause increased concern among citizens. So basically, they wanted to sugarcoat it for us.
So I want to bring this up because I was talking to our good friend Sean about this past weekend, and him and I wouldn't even say it was an argument. We were just discussing it.
Yeah.
Whether in the scientific community, whether it's right or wrong to retract something. And I stood by the stance of once you say something, it's out there. You can make corrections. You can say, hey, we found something else that's new, and you can change it from there. Mm-hmm. But you can't just go, oh, hey, this is what it is, and then just go, oh, no, we didn't say that.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to leave it out there and go, sorry, we didn't mean to say that. This is what we meant to say. We misspoke.
I think in 99% of cases, that's true. In terms of, like, publications, because I think that's probably, like, the biggest thing in the science world that guides kind of people's findings, you can... Most commonly, I think, if a newer, better cure is found for something, guidelines are gonna update themselves, and they're gonna say, hey, previously this is what we said, but new evidence has showed that this is the better option. An alternative, if you have a journal article that's published and you realize maybe you reported something wrong, maybe you got numbers switched, maybe there was a typo, you can write to the journal and let them know, and they will allow you to make a correction. So then on your journal it will say, note, the correction was made on XYZ date, so then you can be aware of what was changed. Now the worst case scenario is it can get retracted, but the only reason it would get retracted is if the information was completely wrong and basically they found
falsified.
They found out you were making up data and no part of it was correct. So a good example of that is like that MMR vaccine causes autism article. That was retracted because the guy made up the data that was involved in that. So just because you don't like the way you worded something, that's not a valid reason to retract something. Okay. I feel.
No, again, I really had no stake in the discussion. It just, in my head, that's how it should go in the scientific community. I don't know. I mean, it just seems, when you fully retract something, it seems like you knew you were lying through your teeth and somebody called you on it.
So, like in terms of coronavirus, we're seeing, and people talk about this a lot, that you're seeing science evolve, where usually you just kind of see the finished product because it doesn't get talked about. And I think a good example of that is the hydroxychloroquine treatment. So right off the bat, there were a lot of studies that came out and said, yeah, this could possibly be used. And when they found out that those actually probably weren't very effective, they then published new articles that said, actually, hydroxychloroquine isn't as effective as we thought. But those old articles still stayed in place. They weren't like, never mind, we don't want people to know we were wrong, so we're going to get rid of this.
Okay.
Because the data in that was still valid. It just maybe wasn't looking at the full picture or something.
But back to the CDC.
Yes,
so
it's airborne.
It's airborne?
So I was reading, they're now saying that 6 feet might not be far enough. Interestingly, I didn't see anywhere talking about masks, and I would assume, and this is not published anywhere, but I would assume that's because they don't want to instill more fear, because once people know that masks might not be as effective as we initially thought, that's just going to, people are going to be like, well, then why am I wearing a mask at all?
Well, you're going to have all the people that, we're at home making cloth masks that don't do jack. Yeah. And it's like, well, there you go. It's, if you didn't have an N95, you're SOL. And I mean, I don't know. I still don't even trust the blue, nurse ones that they have, that I wear.
I think they're good for if you cough or sneeze, that you're not going to spread those through the air.
I think I haven't gotten the common cold this year. So I guess kudos on the mask and hand sanitizer. Actually, guys, I want to know, has anybody, since we've started wearing masks and, hand sanitizing everything, has anybody gotten, like, genuinely sick? Not food sick. I'm talking, like, the common cold, the flu,
Write in, drandork@gmail.com.
Yeah, have any of you guys gotten sick? I'm interested to know.
Yeah, that's a valid question. Anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up. For some reason, I feel like it's still a controversial topic. I also feel like for some reason it's political to talk about whether the CDC says the virus is airborne or not. But that's a conversation for a different podcast. So next thing I want to talk about, as I'm sure everybody has seen, President Trump was hospitalized for the COVID, which I'm sure many people have many witty things they would like to say about that.
Karma.
But he was on a whole slew of treatments, as I'm sure everybody's been reading about, many of which I'm proud to say we have discussed on The Doctor and the Dork.
We have, actually.
One of those treatments is steroids, so things like dexamethasone and prednisone. And I know we've talked about it a few times, but one thing that we haven't talked about too much is the side effects of steroids. You know, they're great. They can be used for, you can get them in a cream. They can help stop itching. You can get them in an inhaler. They can help asthma. You can get them in a pill. They can help COVID and inflammation. But, like, what's the downside of steroids?
They make you jacked. Oh, wait, that's an upside. Sorry. You get jacked. Oh, wait, wrong steroids?
So if you initially read the side effects of steroids, there's like a whole bunch of really bad things. So I want to highlight that there's some key differences in the side effects of steroids. And that is if you're getting short-term steroids, which is usually considered about 2 weeks, versus long-term steroids. So if you're getting steroids for over 2 weeks. And your side effect profile can really differ between that time. So if I, as the pharmacist, if this was me a year ago and I was still in the clinical setting, I would tell my patient who maybe was getting a 5-day course of steroids the things they could expect. They might expect a little agitation. So I always make a joke about that if their spouse is in the room. I say, if you notice he's a little more angry than usual, blame it on the steroids.
Wait, does it really?
Yeah.
Wait, what kind of... Are we talking...
Like dexamethasone, prednisone.
Wait, are these like actually make you jacked?
No,
steroids?
No, they're not those steroids.
So wait, how
they're
are they...
corticosteroids.
So how are they causing roid rage?
So I looked into this a bit, and what it looks like is a lot of it also is there's a lot of fluid retention, and that fluid retention is causing increased blood pressure. So I think that somehow in that cycle, maybe that leads to a bit of the mood swings.
It just makes you actually irritable because you're swelled up.
Your physical self is irritable, therefore your mental self becomes irritable.
Got you.
Is that really the explanation? I'm not sure, but
I was imagining like actual like testosterone steroids, just roid raging out, just throwing chairs through walls and stuff. All right, so you're just like bad mood irritable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So blood pressure, that's another one. So especially if you're a patient who already has hypertension, you're already on medications, for those few days your blood pressure might bounce up. So I just want to tell you, don't worry too much about that. It should normalize when you stop the steroids. And then the last thing is it can cause you to be extra hungry, so you might see a little bit of weight gain, which is both from that hunger and also a little bit from that fluid retention we were talking about earlier. So those are your short-term effects. Now your long-term effects sound a lot scarier, and that's why I think a lot of patients kind of look up things on their own and they create their own diagnoses. So what happens if you are going to take a steroid for longer than 2 weeks? Now, at this point, you can start to see increased blood sugar, which is important if you're diabetic because you might need to adjust some of your medications. And the two bigger things, I think, is one, it can start to kind of break down your bone, which is
osteoporosis.
bad. Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, and this is the one that gets mentioned the most often, is it can decrease your immune system, making you more prone to infections, which is very... interesting, not intuitive. Yeah, because usually you're using these for an infection where you have a lot of inflammation. So then when people start looking this up and they're like, it's going to decrease my immune system. But once again, that's usually if you're only on it for over 2 weeks. So this is something you might see patients with like arthritis or something using.
Well, I seem like that sounds a lot like actual steroids where like, so in a man, if you start using steroids too frequently, as one of the major side effects that keeps you on it is you stop producing your own testosterone. Right,
because now your body's got an outside source, so it down-regulates its own source.
So is that a bit what it's doing like with your immune system? Like if you're on a,
Yeah, tangentially. So it's trying, usually, essentially it's making the immune system not react so much, which is the reason why you're getting less of that inflammation.
So your immune system's
over time, your
immune
system's like, all right, well, I guess we don't got to do anything then if you're going to keep telling us to relax.
All right, makes sense.
But yeah, so I just want to highlight that there is kind of some differences there between short-term and long-term use. So if you have coronavirus and you do get prescribed steroids, don't fear. You'll probably be okay. The last thing I just wanted to mention real quick is that the Nobel Prize was given for the 3 doctors who discovered hepatitis C.
Yes.
Dr. Alter, Dr. Houghton, and Dr. Rice.
Was there like some controversy to that? I was seeing some articles that were like...
Were you? No, I didn't see anything about the controversy.
So I saw one, I know we avoid these topics.
Oh boy.
But I saw one that was saying that the Nobel Prizes are like super sexist because they all went to men.
Yeah.
Well, a majority, I guess.
Sure.
And then, so that was an article I saw today. And then I saw another one that like was saying these guys weren't justified in getting their Nobel Prize for the hepatitis C. Because it's what is it again? It
was just because initially I thought it was for the cure of hepatitis C, but no, their prize was just for like acknowledging this is what hepatitis C is.
Okay. I thought it was like an actually like being able to identify it. Or,
the test used essentially and like saying these are the symptoms and this is what we're going to call it.
Yeah, I saw something else that was controversial, but I didn't really read into it though.
But yeah, there's a few things with the Nobel Prize. One, is it sexist? There was one, I can't remember what the discovery was, but there was one discovery in which like this woman played just as much of a role, if not, than the other 2 men who had worked on it. And when it came time, she didn't get any recognition.
Wow.
It was back in the day. But yeah, I'm sure it was a real big blow to be like.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is you have these people who win the Nobel Prize. And I think of just like the research I do and how many people it takes to arrive at any sort of discovery. And you cannot, what are you going to do? Give 20 people the Nobel Peace Prize? Because realistically, it probably did take all 20 of those people to finally get there. But no, you just have to figure out which few were the most involved with it. And I think that's where things get hairy.
I imagine there's probably a couple of Einsteins running around.
Yeah,
that are like, I am the team.
Sure,
There is no team. It's just me. I am the I in team.
But notably, I'd like to say that since the discovery of hepatitis C, we have a lot more treatments now for it than we initially did. It's a much more manageable disease, although there's still no vaccine for it. But we have a lot of antivirals that you can now take for it.
Oh,
but
that's hella helpful.
That's what I had for the doctor segment. But Frankie brought to my attention, we missed a major segment.
We missed a huge thing on our week in review. We are actually brain dead without coffee. All right, this is ridiculous. We went to Salem, Massachusetts this past weekend, guys.
I suppose that's the significant.
We sat here for about 10 minutes before this, writing down, our thoughts and everything. And we looked at each other and went, that's all we got for the week in review. Literally missed an entire 24-hour period where we just blanked on that.
Yeah.
That was 3 days ago.
So what do you want to say? What do you have to say about Salem?
Let me just shout out to Salem. You have the worst traffic on the planet.
Your parking's also a little pricey.
Yeah, you have $30.
About $30 too pricey.
Yeah, you have $30 parking all over Salem. I'll tell you what, guys. If you were thinking about going this year, don't do it.
No.
All right, $30 parking. It is tourist trappy, like on a level I have not seen. It is just people trying to get out of their house.
The issue is that everywhere tourist trappy was already tourist trappy at the baseline. But now with Corona, when you can only have 50% capacity everywhere, it just makes a tourist trap an actual tourist black hole.
Yeah,
you can't get anything accomplished.
You can't drive anywhere. You can't walk anywhere.
You can't go sit anywhere and eat.
We asked for food at that one. What was it?
Gula Island?
Yeah, Gula Island or something. Gula restaurant in Salem. And it was an hour, 45-minute wait.
And it was,
We walked 5 minutes up the road and went and got chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah, Bon Chicken, guys. If you do go to Salem,
it was actually pretty good.
Chicken. Awesome place.
And the guy there was very nice.
And they got our food in literally 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was actually so quick.
We walked there, got our food, ate it, walked back, and still would have been waiting for another hour. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
But I think even without coronavirus, I just didn't really see a lot of allure to the town.
Well,
we went in a haunted house and it was not even scary.
So here's the thing, though. We went very early. It was October 4th.
It's October. It's the month of Halloween.
No. They're still prepping. They just started a couple days ago.
Maybe they ought to get started sooner.
No. Salem, though, is if you go like the week before Halloween or 2 weeks before, the whole town it's actually very impressive. But to go a month in advance like we did, it is a little, I guess, I'm trying to think of the right word.
Anticlimactic?
Yeah, anticlimactic. It just highly unimpressed this year. But also, we went super early. I just couldn't believe the crowds.
We did go to this cool monster wax museum. That was probably the coolest thing we did.
That was cool. Olivia didn't recognize anything in there.
I knew like 2 things. I knew the girl from Hocus Pocus and...
Guys, for reference, there's 100 wax creation.
Were there really 100 in there?
Yeah, there were 100 mannequin creations. That's what it said on the thing. It's not a lie.
Maybe within the basement there were 90 more.
They keep 100 in there.
There were maybe 20.
Are you kidding me?
Matt and Dee Dee, please write into Dr. and Dork at gmail.com.
Don't write in. Oh, no. I want to call in, guys. All right? But no, that's all we got this week, guys.
Yeah, we got to go. We're going to be late for hot yoga.
Yep, we got to go suffer in some hot yoga. So, we'll talk to you on episode 19. We will have a book review and possibly a movie review for The Girl on the Train.
And how about you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or drop a comment on Podbean.
I see what you did there.
We really appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Bye.
See you later.